Hey everyone, it has been a long time since I have made any videos, hasn't it? And it's not that I intended on it being this long, but that's just how things happened. You know how life is. Things come up, you have intentions, but then things just throw you all over the place. And that's what's been going on with me the last 2+ years. So I haven't made any videos, but I'm still here, right? And I wanted to get on and say hello and say I hope you all are doing well. There is a lot going on in this Jehovah Witness organization, right? With women now being allowed to wear pants, men no longer having to wear suits and ties, and the fact that they can actually follow their Bible trained conscience now and be able to say a greeting to disfellowship people. I thought that one was like, whoa, they're really doing some changes. And that's because I believe they're losing a lot of people, or their numbers are not growing as much as they used to. Probably a combination of both, right? And so they have to change some things. But I wish they allowed or did that change back when I was younger in the congregation, when I was disfellowship, because I would have loved to have some people say hello to me. I would have felt a little bit more comfortable. But regardless, that is not all I wanted to get on here and talk to you guys about. There are a lot of XJW activists, right? And so because this channel was never only about the JW topic, I never felt like it was going to be where I was going to stay. I always had intentions of doing something else because, as you know, this channel has also talked about beliefs and the Bible and challenging some of that. So I've always had the desire to just take things a little bit further. But I don't know if you remember, because it has been like 2+ years. My last video, I talked about another channel that I was creating called TruthSeeker Nation. And I actually asked you guys if some of you wanted to subscribe, and some of you did. But I never put content on that video or on that channel, which was like, I think I said I was going to do it in like a couple months or something back then. And now it's been like a couple years, maybe even almost 3 years. That is so crazy. Time goes by very fast. But anyway, I'm glad I didn't do it back then, because a lot of the ideas that I had back then have changed. So the topics that I would have been talking about back then are not the ones that I actually decided to talk about. So I did create content on this channel just recently, which is actually a podcast, right? It's called TruthSeeker Nation Podcast, and the episodes release every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So I just released my first episode last Sunday, and then the next episode is going to be this Sunday, because it's going to be every week. And obviously on YouTube, right? People are more used to videos. So to just be watching or putting on a podcast and just listening to audio and just having a static image on the video is probably not ideal for most people that is coming to YouTube, because that's what they want, is some kind of video. So what I'm going to do is I'm still going to put the actual audio part of the podcast on YouTube, but I'm also going to make videos in between each of the episodes in order to just kind of do a recap of the previous episodes. So I'm going to do one every week. I don't really know a day of the week that I'm going to do those, but the podcast itself is going to be every Sunday. And I already put the first one on the channel. So if you subscribe, you will see that. It's going to be in the description. Also, if you're on one of these platforms, like you are already someone who likes podcasts, you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. There's some other ones too, but there's so many platforms. You should be able to find it. It's definitely going to be on Apple and Spotify and iHeartRadio. So, yeah, you could go check it out. Listen, I do want to say this though, if you guys are interested in listening to me on the podcast, I cuss, right? That's not something I ever did on this channel. So that may be a little new for you, hearing that part of my personality, but yeah, I do cuss. And what we're talking about, that's probably one of the main things you want to know, right? I've always been a truth seeker. So it started with my religion, the Jehovah's Witness religion, and then it expanded to other religions, and then the Bible. And then after I broke down a lot of those beliefs, that's when I started getting even deeper into searching, like truth seeking. And so this podcast is gonna be talking about a lot of the beliefs that we have as a whole, and I'm talking about humanity, right? And why they are sometimes detrimental, and why we need to reconsider some of these beliefs, because I believe that they are holding us back from becoming what we are supposed to become. And that's primarily what I'll be talking about on the podcast. A lot of that. Some of the topics of religion and the Bible will sneak its way in there, because that is a big part of some of these belief systems that we have that are just, not allowing us to live our best lives. The first, I would say 8, probably 10 podcast episodes are going to be about autonomy. So self-government versus being governed by other people, which is obviously what it means to submit to government, right? Because these are just other people that are working in these positions that we are submitting to. So I'm talking about that. I'm talking about just this concept from all these different angles, because I believe it's important to start considering some of these ideologies and really questioning, is this something that we have to do? Is this something we should be doing? Obviously we've just been born here and we've just fallen in line with what's going on, but does that mean that it's something that we really should be doing? Is this helping us, or is this keeping us stagnant? So that's the beginning. Some of the future episodes, will be a lot of, different things, and you'll be able to see, if you come over there and join us, what we'll be talking about. Let's see what else. It's not going to be monetized. I'm not planning on making any money from this. I do hope it goes global though, because I really believe that, first of all, this is something that I've been called to do. And when I say called, you know how you just have that knowing about, you just have something that you're supposed to do, and maybe you don't know what it is, but then over time you start getting closer and closer to that. And that is where I'm at. It's been a lot of things over the years that have gotten me to the place where, first of all, I know it's something I'm supposed to be doing. And secondly, to know exactly what that is. I don't know all of it, of course, but this is a start, so that's what I'm doing. And I hope that you join over there on the podcast and seek truth. That's what it's all about. It's about continually seeking truth. And this is a process. It's not something that we get to the end of the road and we just have all of the answers. I mean, I know as Jehovah's Witness, any of you who actually are or used to be Jehovah's Witnesses that are watching this, or maybe even current, that in that organization, it was about knowing all the answers. And that's what made us so comfortable. But when you leave some of these belief systems and you start venturing out away from that, there's a tendency to try to replace the quote unquote truth that you had or thought you had with something else, right? You want to know, well, if it's not this, what is it? And what I'm here to say from my experience is that we may not know what it is all the time. We may, what seems to be the case is that we will come to a conclusion about what it's not. We will know, well, this definitely can't be what it is. But it doesn't mean that we're going to actually be able to replace that with a very solid and strong knowing of what it actually is, right? It could be that we have some beliefs that continue to grow and expand over time, but it's a process. That's my whole point. Truth seeking is something that is continuous. So that is what we'll be doing on this TruthSeeker Nation podcast. Whether or not you join the podcast, I hope that you continue to do that though for yourself. Continue to seek truth, because it will be something that will make you free. As the Bible says, right? Truth will set you free. So continue to seek after that and continue to speak the truth as well. And yeah, with that being said, check out the link in the description if you're so inclined, or go find the podcast on one of the podcast platforms. And I look forward to speaking with you again soon. Okay? You guys have a great week.